everyone, and welcome back to Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining us in studio, Town Manager Tom Lynch. Tom, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Not too bad at all. Did you have a nice weekend?
I did have a nice weekend. Got to see the Boat Builders show here in Hyannis. It was quite lovely. And yourself?
Well, what did you buy?
Yeah, right. Did a lot of dreaming.
Yeah, it was a very nice weekend. I had a chance to go up to the new Monomoy High School to see the All Cape choir and orchestra, and it was really a very nice event. A lot of local people supporting their young men and women who are in high school.
It's
really great.
so great they're still doing that event. As I sang in the All Cape Choir when I was in high school, and it was such a highlight. I remember it still to this day.
Well, I think one thing that's interesting, they bring in outside conductors so that work with the students, and each of them was just, they really encouraged the young girls and the young men who were there, and it just seemed like a really worthwhile activity for them. They all seemed to really like it. So.
Great.
Wonderful performance, great performance.
Absolutely, and so, talking about the schools, funding is one thing that kind of took us center stage this weekend as the foundation budget had a hearing, DY, correct, in Yarmouth?
Yes, earlier on Saturday, and it had been planned for some time. We knew that on February 7th there would be a hearing by the Chapter 70 Foundation Review Commission that was a legislative action, and there were Senate Chair, House Chair, and I was actually surprised to see, about a dozen members there. So they had people from the Mass Association of School Committees, they had business leaders, they had folks representing a whole variety of sectors in our state. And so they were, this is about their third or fourth hearing, I think, so they were ready with some questions, and we had spent time preparing because we thought this was an important opportunity to talk about where Barnstable might fit in with the other 351 cities and towns. So we had met with legislators, as we talked about last week, and the legislative delegation was there. Although they weren't testifying, they were listening as members of the audience. We had scheduled it so that Mark Milne, our finance director, would go first, then the school superintendent, and then I testified. And Mark was excellent in terms of the statistics he used, and there's we tried to talk somewhat about the calculation of effort, which is the amount of money that you might put in that exceeds the foundation budget, and in our case that's about $15 million. So Barnstable is a community, and I believe we're one of only 12 that exceeds it to that extent, with really a higher level of effort. So one message we wanted to be getting out there is that while we know some communities are spending below their effort, and in some cases Chapter 70 makes up most of that foundation budget, that if they're going to try to raise the foundation limit or bring people up, communities like us that have been investing in our education may be hurt, because there's a limited pool of money. So unless they bring new resources into the picture, there's a chance that communities like ours could get hurt. Now, we're doing this despite the fact that our local revenues might have only grown 1.53%, as Mark pointed out. So while we are seeing some growth, it's certainly not equaling the amount of the level effort that we put in. So we rely, like others do, on a certain percentage of local aid, and would not like to see that missed. Mark got several questions, which was very good. I mean, they clearly listened to his analysis of the situation. I believe I heard the chair correctly say that they would be looking to have a hold harmless clause so the communities like ours wouldn't get hurt. So I think it was important to hear that. We'll see if that stays intact as they finish their review of over, going around the Commonwealth. Dr. Kajowski, who I understand is going to, follow us. Then
yes.
She talked quite a bit about, how our what the composition of our student body is, and ways that low-income students have increased. She gave percentages on that, and then defined what a high-need student was and the number of high-need students that we're seeing come into the district. Of course, talked about the English language learners that are out there that you know, have increased dramatically and need services and attention. So she also took the 4 or 5 of the key points that had been supported by the Mass Association of School Superintendents that we had also reviewed and felt fit with us. Issues like increasing the allowance for low-income students, you know, accurately reflecting healthcare costs or teacher salaries, things of those natures. So, and Mary also got a lot of questions. One of the things that one of the members asked, though, was, you know, can you, of Mary is, you know, they said one of our charges is a best practice. Could you give us a best practice that you're doing? She used the example of the town supporting the creation of an English language learning center, an early learning center, excuse me, not English language, early learning center for special needs to try to give our students a you know, good firm foundation to start their school career. So that was kind of a softball for me because my testimony was geared toward a best practice of the model that we have of consolidating our finances and personnel department. So, and financial operations are, it's a complicated subject. It's a lot of, most cities and towns, I think, really look at it, the school's off doing, you know, its budget and determining its needs and coming up with a dollar amount. The municipal side is doing the same thing. And there's going to be natural tension when the two get together to say, we need this on the school side, and we need this on the municipal side. What I believe we've accomplished through consolidation is we meet all the time in this. We have one finance director, we have one human resources director. We're able to sit, look at the dollar amount, determine what that dollar amount should be for education, determine what it is for the municipal side, and then we each live within that. And the school committee sets its own priorities, and I should mention that in addition, the school committee members were there at the meeting also from Barnstable. And you know, we're meeting with the school committee, the school superintendent, town council, you know, town administration, to make sure that we're all on the same page with the dollar numbers that are coming out. And if they need to be increased, we'll look for ways to do that. We also have incentives built in when there's, you know, unexpected funds at the end of the year. It goes into a reserve account that they may have. So there are built-in incentives to save and to try to be you know, cost effective with your choices, so financial choices. So I thought it was a good opportunity for us. We had a chance to also talk to Senator Wolf and Brian Mantle, Representative Mantle, and Representative Whalen, and Representative from Nantucket journeyed over, and I think got a round of applause for coming the farthest, I guess.
Definitely.
But I think they heard something a little different from Barnstable, and what they should have gone away with is the fact that we approach this problem as a team, and in doing that, I have a clear understanding of where the schools are going, the types of issues they are presenting. Plus, we have a very solid capital improvement plan for the schools as well as the municipal side, and the schools understand how we establish that capital trust fund and how we're going to try to meet their needs as well as the municipal needs. So it makes for a much more collaborative approach, and I tried to make the point with the commission that if they're looking for ways to save money, if they're looking for ways that communities themselves can bring in some predictable budgeting and transparency into the process and have some dollar savings, multiply that out you know, statewide, and you've got some significant dollars that you can bring back into the educational system. That's different than regionalization. They, you know, one of the things they've talked about, and I think they've heard, is that if we regionalize the schools, there'll be, you know, cost savings that are out there. Well, we've seen some examples where regionalization is terrific, and others where it can be very disruptive in a community or between the communities that are operating. So this is something that communities can do on their own, internally, and I think come up with a budgeting system that certainly has the intent of trying to meet both the needs of better education as well as quality services on the municipal side.
Sure. So bigger picture, the Foundation Budget Review Commission is going around the state, correct?
Yes.
To kind of take a look at the way the state funds our schools, correct? And do you know how long the process is, and you know how much more they have to do before they wrap this up?
We believe they're going to have a report by the spring. Whether, you know, that was one of the advantages of meeting with our legislative delegation. We had a variety of views around the table as to what the impact of what they do will be. This is the foundation, you know, dollar amount that's there. It doesn't impact the actual Chapter 70 formula or bring more money into it. So that process of whether or not there should be greater, you know, incentives brought in for communities like ours that are trying to do and save money, or whether there should be ways of you know, again, appropriating more monies for special ed and things like that. That's still another argument. What we did, by having that discussion with our legislators, we saw, you know, I think Dan Wolf sits on education. I know Representative Vieira from the Falmouth area used to sit on education. They had some very positive insights as to how a report like this might be used, because anytime you start looking at something statewide and you haven't, you know, communities that are reliant on Chapter 70 for just to meet their foundation, not this extra effort that one might make to try to help their educational process. If there's a limited pool of money, it's got to come from somewhere, and communities like ours could get hurt. So that's something that our legislators told us they would fight for, to be sure that after this process, if the report generates additional legislation or budgetary changes during the budget process, that they fight to be sure that we aren't harmed in the process.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, I thank you so much for giving us that update, and we will talk with you again next week, and have a great week.
I wanted to discuss something else in snow, even
though... You may, absolutely.
I'd rather not talk about snow. So this is something that, you know, our efforts to, you know, keep doing the business of the town go on, despite the fact that we're out there preoccupied to a certain extent about, you know, making sure our roads are safe for everyone.
That's right. Mother Nature kind of got a one-up on us the past couple of weeks. But it was nice to see a little bit of rain, some melting going on there. Well, Tom, again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom Lynch is our town manager, superintendent of schools. Dr. Mary Chakowski is next to continue that foundation budget discussion. We'll be back with more Barnstable This Morning.